I've covered a lot of Creed fragrances on the channel, from standalone reviews to top 10 lists, and I'll be honest, Creed was one of the brands that got me into niche fragrances. That wasn't the first niche fragrance that I purchased, but it was the first brand of niche fragrances that I started collecting heavily. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole hard. I'm not just talking all of the standard Aventus, Millésime Imperial, Silver Mountain Water, and all of those standard Creeds. I'm talking about I was getting some discontinued ones. I've got a couple of bottles of Green Valley, Zesty Mandarin Pamplemousse, a whole bunch of older, other weird stuff. I mean, I really went in pretty hard. I don't know, there's something about Creed that I just liked, other than the scents. I like the kind of background, the stories, which kind of, are cliche and who knows how truthful they are. But I really kind of fell in love with the brand, and I had a lot of fun just hunting down these bottles on eBay and all these other websites. And I had a lot of fun hunting down and tracking down all of these older bottles and all of that stuff. And I think a lot of the appeal that Creed gave to me was the fact that there are these so-called batch variations and reformulations and vintage and older stuff, and that kind of makes up the majority of what I was doing, just trying to collect all these older bottles. And I was thinking about the other day, and I realized I haven't done a review on perhaps, one of the most popular Creed fragrances, aside from Aventus. Of course, that one is the ever so classic and gentleman's scent, Green Irish Tweed. Now, Green Irish Tweed has always been one that has been a bit iffy for me. I've always liked the scent, but I haven't really ever gravitated towards it that much. There was a point where I actually owned a couple bottles of it. I owned two 120 ml bottles. Both were older batches back when I was doing my whole batch thing. I think there was like a 2010, maybe 2011 batch, and maybe one was in 2012. I don't remember for sure what they were, but I had a couple bottles of Green Irish Tweed at one point, and I actually ended up selling them. And for the longest time, up until semi-recently, I didn't have Green Irish Tweed in my collection, which is funny because that's usually the one that people start out with, and it's one of the ones that people often keep when they're rotating through, but I got rid of mine. And then here recently, I finally got myself a bottle again. I went with the 75 ml just because I always like this style of the bottle. I love the all blacked out bottles of Green Irish Tweed. I think those look amazing, but I wanted one of these 75 mls. Obviously, this size and the 120 ml size is discontinued, but I've always liked just the kind of green here on the front, and I loved like the classy, timeless look of these 75 mls. This one's also a 2015 batch, which is kind of what I was aiming for. Something a bit newer than my older ones, but I didn't want to get something that was a 2019 or 2020 batch. And I can assure you this bottle is here to stay in my collection. Today we're going to be going over Green Irish Tweed. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and ultimately if I think this one's worth picking up even now in 2020, since this one was released in 1985. This guy's been around for a while, and I'm going to tell you if I think it's still picking up. So let's not waste any more time. We have a lot of important things to cover today. Let's get into it. So when you first spray on Green Irish Tweed, what you'll get right away in the opening is this nice, vibrant lemon verbena, and it's such a beautiful, sparkling scent. It's nice, sparkling green, somewhat ozonic, kind of uplifting smell. And what you'll kind of realize right away is that, yes, this is a gentleman's fragrance. I mean, this is a refined, elegant, well put together, clean scent. This isn't for a teenager. This isn't for someone with super loud, flashy style. This is for a well put together, refined gentleman who wants to smell clean and fresh. Along with that lemon verbena, you get violet leaf. And like I've said multiple times, I love violet leaf in fragrances. I think it's an underutilized note, and maybe that's because it can be a bit challenging to use in certain fragrances. So maybe perfumers choose not to work with it as much, especially with designers where they don't have as much of a budget. But in niche fragrances and some designer fragrances as well, violet leaf done the right way just can completely transform a scent, and I love it. So lemon verbena, violet leaf in the opening, that carries you basically into the mid and dry down. Now what will come in the mid and dry down is that nice signature Creed ambergris that you smell basically across all of their offerings. Even in stuff like Viking, which is a spicier, warmer scent, you get that ambergris in there. And along with that comes in a little bit of iris. Now this is not like an iris based fragrance like something like Prada L'Homme or Dior Homme Eau or Dior Homme or any of of those, you know, popular trendy iris fragrances. It's not like that. It's not coming off like lipsticky in here. It's kind of in the background, just giving it a little bit of support to the other prominent leading notes. All of this falls on a nice sandalwood base, which I don't pick up on too much, but it's probably in there just mainly as a base note to help give the fragrance just a little bit more strength. It's a pretty simplistic note breakdown, and really it's a pretty simplistic fragrance in the best way possible. This isn't something like a Ventus where the note breakdown is just ginormous and there's so many things. This one's pretty stripped back. It's pretty simplistic, and sure, there may be some notes that we aren't aware of. I'm going off of Fragrantica here. That's good enough for me. If you want to get like a, you know, a full extensive note breakdown, I'm sure Creed's official website has more notes, or maybe they have the same and maybe it's changed over the years. I don't know. I'm just telling you kind of the gist of it here for you to do your own research. Like I said, the Fragrantica note breakdown works for me. It's very simplistic in its scent, and you can tell that. It's fresh, it's clean, it's green, it's got a little bit of a soapy quality as well. And yes, the fragrance itself has changed over the years due to all the regulations and all of that stuff that you guys have heard a million times. I wish I still had my older bottles just to compare, but I don't. But I do remember what they smell like, and they are very green. And you're probably thinking, well, obviously it's green Irish Tweed, but I mean, they are extremely green to the point that I don't think everyone would like this scent. You know, this kind of gets compared to Davidoff Cool Water, and that's one of those clean scents that literally everyone can wear and they're gonna smell great. I think if you were to wear some of those super ultra green batches of green Irish Tweed, you might put some people off, and you might put yourself off too if you're not into that. And that was part of the reason why I ended up letting those bottles go, is just because I wasn't wearing them. You know, it was very green. I actually kind of prefer somewhat of the newer batches of green Irish Tweed, because as you go newer, it gets a bit more soapy and less like super potently stringent green. So newer batches are going to be a bit more soapy. Of course, still has that green Irish Tweed DNA in there, but the older stuff is like ultra green. So I find that the 2015 batch I have here strikes a pretty nice balance, and I'm very happy with it. In terms of performance on my skin, I get about a solid 8 to 9 hours of longevity. That's pretty good, especially from a Creed fragrance. You guys know some of their offerings can be a bit fleeting, unless you're talking about like a Ventus or Viking, or, you know, even something maybe like Bois de Portugal and Silver Mountain Water. Those all last good, but other than that, a lot of their fresher stuff, they're gone pretty quickly, which is kind of sad for the price. But this one, again, really good longevity. Projection, it's not a monster, it's moderate, but that's what you would want from a refined scent like this. It does enough to where it will occupy my personal space and push out to the point where people will be able to pick it up on you and potentially give you a compliment. And of course, versatility. This is an any time of the year, any situation fragrance. It will work for anything. That makes a great bang for your buck. You know, if you were to ask me now in 2020, what are a couple fragrances that would be good for getting into the house of Creed, I would recommend you a Ventus and green Irish Tweed. Those would be my two first choices out of everything, out of all of their stuff, even stuff like Spice and Wood and, you know, that line of fragrances, which I have and love Spice and Wood, very expensive. I would choose green Irish Tweed and a Ventus to start your Creed collection. Simple as that. A couple of their best sellers, a couple of the most popular Creed fragrances. Sure, they are very popular, but if you want a good place to start in terms of bang for your buck, the best value for your dollar spent, it's going to be this one and a Ventus. And if you wanted me to throw a third one in there, I'd say Viking. Another controversial one, at least when it first came out. I think it has some love now, but when Viking first came out, it was getting destroyed. That would be my top three. Extremely versatile, all good performing, and all great quality scents from Creed. That's a great place to put your money, or those three are a great place to put your money if you want to get into them. So I think that's going to wrap this up for me, guys. My thoughts on green Irish Tweed. I love it. It's a classic, and I'm glad to have this bottle around for good. This one's not leaving my collection this time. It's been back and forth. I've gone through samples and kind of wavered on it and thought, maybe I should pick up another bottle. And I've actually been wanting to pick up a bottle of green Irish Tweed probably for the past year, maybe even close to a year and a half. I've been kind of looking around every now and then and have one in my cart, and then I'm like, nah, I'm not going to get it. Just kind of wavering back and forth because, you know, I didn't know how much I was going to wear this or if it's even worth picking up, but I'm glad I have it. It has been one that I have been wearing, and hey, it's a classic for a reason. This is a really nice scent. Let me know what you guys think of green Irish Tweed down below, and don't forget there will be a link down below to FragranceNet where you can purchase this fragrance at a discount. Don't buy it at retail. That is ridiculous. hit that link down below, grab it on a discount. That's pretty much going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.